pull a seat up and let's talk a little bit about what little I know about anvils. Alright guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about anvils before we christen this baby with its first project. So these are Kancas. Kancas and petting houses, as far as I know, are the two anvils that are drop forged. Now, what is drop forging? Drop forging means that this whole anvil is all the same type of steel, and it is quite literally pressed and forged through different dies and different setups. I'm not exactly sure of the whole process, but this is all one piece of steel. Now, compare it to older anvils or other anvils of a different make and model, and those ones are generally some sort of either a cast iron or a cast steel with a hardened plate on the top. Now, I know there are a lot of smiths out there that use anvils like that, and they work just great for them. But me personally, after the experience I had with my bad buying decision of the first anvil, that really made me, how shall I say, scared of cast anything with a plate on top. So that's why I decided that I'm going to stick to only anvils that are drop forged. Now, what we're actually going to be doing in this video is as I'm talking, I'm going to try and start dressing the edges up here. I got to dress my Hardy tool hole, and I'm going to try and dress up this also. And I'll see if I can't orientate properly while I'm doing that without having to resort to a drawing board or the whiteboard and explain or visually explain that. I might end up having to do that anyways. We'll see how it goes. So what I'm using to dress up this anvil here is I'm just using some basic hand files. I do believe this is a half round bastard file, because I think it's a full name. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file and I'm going to go over this edge and create a nice radius all the way back, and I'm going to try and taper it. And when I get back here, I'm going to take these sharp corners off also, but the goal there is basically just to get rid of it. I don't need a specific radius back here on the back end of this horn, but here I am going to try and get more of a tapering radius, so a nice sharp radius back here and a little bit wider of a radius up here in the front. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because if you use the edges of your anvil to create reductions, you isolate material with it, you do all sorts of different tasks with the edge of this. And having a sharp edge here, what that means is if I went and I used this right now and they started beating on steel and went to do a reduction here, the sharp edge that's here would translate that same sharp edge into the material that I'm working. And what that would do is that would create stress risers in whatever I'm trying to make, whether it's a tool or something decorative or, you know, whatever the case may be. Now, I do believe you could use power tools to do what I'm doing here, but I don't trust myself enough to do this with power tools. Also, another thing I want to talk about is I do believe that the Kanca anvils are done to a 62 or 65 HRC, and HRC is Hardin Rockwell. I forget what the C stands for, but yeah, as I say, that's a hardness scale for how hard the steel is, and I do believe that the Kancas and the padding houses are right around that mark of low 60s to mid. Not exactly sure. Can't tell just from the noise of this file sliding across this back corner. This is definitely harder than right here. Let's see if I can give you guys a little comparison. So here's on the side of the far side of the anvil from where I'm at, center face edge. Hear that? Okay, now we're gonna move back here to the back horn. So this back horn's obviously a bit harder than the center of this, which kind of makes sense if you look at the profile of the anvil. And what I mean by that is if this whole thing is hardened and tempered and hardened as a whole piece, it makes sense that the center part here would be a little bit softer than out here or out here on this horn. The reason why is when they go to quench these, this is going to be your biggest mass, right? So this is going to hold the most amount of heat. Out here and out here, less mass, so it's going to cool off quicker, so it makes sense that it would actually get harder on the outside. I guess another reason of why I prefer using a file versus a power tool is yeah, a power tool in this scenario might be faster, and I probably do have enough skill to get away with doing what I need to do here, but there's a certain satisfaction of using a hand tool, I think, and getting a product at the end of it that you can be proud of. One day this thing, I don't, you guys can probably see it in the video, it's shaking on me a little bit. I'm working on right where two of the pores for this meet up. So one day this will find a permanent home in the shop or wherever down the road, and it will be bolted to the concrete. I was looking for some anchors the other day. I think hammer in sleeve anchors or something like that. The biggest ones I could find were only 3/8, and the hole sizes on this, you know, that's probably, I don't know, yeah, you know, it's the thickness of my thumb, which is kind of meaty. I'd put it at about a 1-inch hole that's at the base of this. So I'd like to have something a bit more sturdy. I guess worst comes to worst, I could use, now there's 12 holes in here, so I guess worst case scenario, I could use 12 of those 3/8. Okay. I just saw something on my file. I think the anvil's winning a little bit. Let's see if I can show you here. There we go. See that? A couple of times in the corner working on that hardy hole, I went on the edge here to try and get in there, get rid of that sharp edge, and I think I damaged my file on this edge. Nice thing is if I screw up this is good steel. I'll be able to make something out of it. There's a lot of jokes I can make right here, right now. Alright, so I guess I don't think I explained it well enough earlier, so I'm going to try and draw it out and show you what I'm talking about with cold shuts and why you're going to want a rounded edge. So looking at the Anvil, brand new, comes up, there's a little bit of a radius to it, but it's still pretty sharp, right? So you have your material, come on, focus. So you have your material, right? Like so, and you go to strike down this way with your hammer, it's gonna hit here on that, right? And it's gonna put a dent that's gonna be a copy of this. Now, if that dent, or that indentation, is super sharp, that indentation is super sharp right there in the corner, you'll get what's known as a stress riser. So when you go and you round this out to have a softer edge, okay? Your dent that you're gonna put, or the indentation that you're gonna put in here, is also gonna get softer, decrease the risk of a stress riser forming in here, where you're doing a reduction or stretching or tapering or whatever the case may be. So hopefully that makes the picture overall a bit clearer, or it still might be as clear as mud. But that's it for this one. Not a whole lot of funny jokes. I couldn't think of anything except for a few, and I didn't want to say those on camera. So I hope you guys at least found this informative, maybe a bit entertaining. Hope you know a little bit more now about anvils and why you gotta clean them and dress them even though you bought them brand new. You can't just throw them straight into service. Oh, one last thing. I did start an Instagram account, and if you guys want to see pics and stuff like that as I'm working here in the shop, I'll be trying to remember to take pictures and post stuff on there so you can see as the project progresses, and then you can watch the YouTube video for full disclosure, right? So like, comment, share, get your jazz hand routine on. You guys all have a good one. Fabric on everybody, all right?